doing is they're making that force energy throughout the entire world. We exist within a certain frequency. Yeah. Everything, like the Hindus say, that everything is a frequency, everything is a vibration. And what I've uncovered back in college is what is known to be today as the Schumann frequency, SCHUMAN, the Schumann resonance. And what that has to do with is the energy level at the hertz at which we exist at. And back in 1968, 69, we was at 7 hertz, and right now we're supposedly just above 12 hertz somewhere, which means that a 24-hour time period in 1968 would be 16 hours today because of this time compression as we move towards the center of our galaxy in 2012. So there is something else going on there.
That blows my mind, and we are going to have to talk about that when we come back, because that also coincides with, and I will tell you that I'm not a religious person, but I read a lot of religious texts, and that does coincide with something that is said in the book of Revelation. And I want to get your thoughts on that, but
I tried to read the book of Revelation, and I found it most befuddling. I couldn't understand it. I still can't understand it. It's very difficult.
We have to take a break. All right, we'll be back. All right, folks, a whole new world has just opened. We'll be back, and we'll open the phone lines for you in just a little bit. 1-800-289-1092 is the number to call. Toll-free throughout North America, and we shall return. Joining us in this second hour, our guest this evening is Gene Malkovich, and we're talking about the mysteries of the pyramid. And there are many, 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 many mysteries about the Great Pyramid. We will open the telephone lines in just a moment. But let me say this again, for those of you in North America, that's the United States and Canada, there's a toll-free number for you. That toll-free number is 1-800-289-1092. All right? If you live outside of the United States, and I know we've got listeners scattered all over the world, got an email today from one in Japan that listens. But we have lots of listeners scattered around the world. If you're not in North America, you can still participate in the discussion by sending me an email. Send it to flash@kevinsmithshow.com with your question or your comment, and we'll ask Gene to respond to that. All right, now, Gene, when we went away, you were talking about time compression and that things have changed. Our 24-hour day is no longer the same amount of time that it was in the 60s. Is that right?
Correct. And, of course, we don't notice it because it's the old boiling frog thing. We're all moving along with it at the same rate. So we don't notice the time change from day to day. But over the period of time, this is a calculable thing. This is something that some mathematicians and physicists have worked out pretty well. And again, we are in a certain frequency that we exist at, and this is all dependent. This is on our on consciousness as well.
All right. Now, you said that our day now would be equal to 16 hours of what it would back in the 1960s.
Correct. And by the time we get to 2012, it'll be about 12 hours. So
did you know that that's a reduction of 1/3?
Correct.
And I don't pretend to understand all of Revelation. I'm not a apocalyptic scholar, but I've read it, and there is something in there where it says the day will be shortened by 1/3.
Well, that that pretty much reaffirms what conclusions I've come to, and I've been studying a lot of the Mayan calendar and how it's interpreted, and as they change their days and their times, and they believe that everything is in a cycle. Now, they call us the fifth race of man. Did you know that the Pope, in his Christmas message, opens it up by saying, "Greetings to the fifth race of man"?
Didn't know
the
that.
Vatican is very, very aware of what's going on. And you've heard of in the Vatican, where they have the first thing that you do when you walk in on the floor, on the tile, is the entire astrological horoscope?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go to the phone line. And caller, you're live on the Kevin Smith Show. Your first name and from where are you calling?
If you'd like to make a call.
Don't do that to me, folks. All right. When I put you on hold, stay there. All right. 1-800-289-1092. 1-800-289-1092. The telephone lines are now open. And if you've got a question or comment, we'd love to hear from you. The astrological signs being on the floor of the Vatican, I've heard about that. Interesting thing.
The thing is that the three wise men had followed a star to the Star of Bethlehem to see where Jesus was born. So there's a bit of controversy that which star was that and how could that have happened, and a lot of astronomers have been thinking that it was a quasar or some kind of nova or something, and then there's others that believe that it was a UFO. And also when Moses was going through the desert, the cloud, the pillar of fire that led him through the desert. And some people say, well, this was the residence of God, or it could have been a UFO beaming up.
All right,
one of the other things that I wanted to tell you about was the great work that Richard Hogan has done about the pyramids on Mars, and the similarity about the pyramids on Mars and their buildings, their angles, and the Cydonia, the city of Cydonia.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to look at that face on Mars and how much it looks like the face of the Sphinx. I mean, there's got to be something there. And what I believe happened at that time is that we're all part Martians, because you know where the planets, the asteroid belt is. I think that was the original planet where we developed in our solar system, and then somehow that was destroyed. And then they moved to Mars, and as Mars was either the planet went dry and lost its atmosphere. Remember, the Nephilim, who came from the earth, who instructed man to dig for gold to keep their atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know that story, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So look at Mars, look at the atmosphere. And I have friends that think that Nibiru is some giant planet out there somewhere that's coming to Earth and is going to perpetrate some great destruction and catastrophe that is going to turn the Earth into a ball of fire and destroy everything. And I'm going to go along with Richard Hogan, and he says Nibiru is Mars. And I think he's right about that.
Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're live on the Kevin Smith Show. Your first name and from where are you calling?
This is Michelle from Quebec.
Yes, Michelle.
What a great guest. I got 1,000 questions on 1,000 different subjects, but the one I want to go to is back to the pyramids. And do either of you think that if they put the cap back on, which was supposed to be gold or some other metal, and we know that a pyramid was made first to reflect, don't they think we got the technology now that we could get all kinds of readings and find something out about it? I think the idea we're going about it, trying to figure out what the old people did, and we should use the technology we got today to find out. But the cap's got to be put back on top.
What do you think about that, Gene?
Well, I'm not sure I heard the last part of that.
You said the cap has to be put back on top.
Oh, okay. The capstone. The capstone.
Yeah.
Okay. With the capstone on, it forms another energy which we're not ready for. And right now, the pyramid is actually a 6-sided figure instead of a 5-sided figure, and it's left open until the time that we're ready to receive that energy. Because it is a two-way communication. Like I said, I believe that it's a beacon as well as a monument.
Okay, Michelle, do you have another question or comment?
just a comment. I don't see where he or anybody else has the right to say we're not ready yet. I think we are ready. I think that's the problem. There's too many people saying you can't do it. And we all figured out we can't. I think we can. And like I said before, the technology we got now, we could find out a heck of a lot if we put our best minds and our best technology to finding out this stuff.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Well,
you're welcome.
Okay. I mean, they a lot of, as far as the technology thing goes, you know, I mean, Tesla had done some tremendous works, but how come no company has done anything about it? You know, there's a lot of technological advancements that are kept black or undercover.
Well, yeah. And I think there are a host of reasons for that, and one of them is you can't put a meter on free energy.
Right.
Then you can't send a bill.
That's a big problem. And also, I believe that the American Space Program, by the way, my father worked on Echo 1, and that was one of my inspirations to go into science and to find out about UFOs and everything, because it was the first, right after Sputnik, it was the first thing that the United States had put up into space.
Mm-hmm.
So how that goes is the fact that again, back to the energy from the pyramid and where that all comes from and how we can make use of that is the same way that Tesla had found the secret and he had made use of it. And to think that the space program today, what we have up here at Cape Canaveral, that we're using 60-year-old World War II technology to launch a craft into space, that can't be the only thing that the government has. I know that there's some very, very smart scientists out there, and I know we've done a lot better than that, but it's, again, a black project.
All right, we have a flash message from Ireland, and Clinton says, is it just me, or does anybody think that the Sphinx was originally a lion, and maybe some egotistical Egyptian a long time after carved his face on it? I make this strange statement because I heard that about 10,500 years ago the Sphinx aligned with the constellation Leo, and Leo means lion. What he's asking you now, what do you think about that?
Well, that's exactly right. The Sphinx, about 10,000 years ago, I asked what it did line up with the constellation Leo, and the reason it looks a little bit different than it did, and actually Napoleon's soldiers, when Napoleon came down to Egypt, in their excitement, blown off the nose of the Sphinx. So but it actually represents the man lion, the man lion.
Yeah, okay.
The riddle, it's about the great riddle of the Sphinx, you know.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, you are live on the Kevin Smith Show. Your first name and from where are you calling?
This is Brent from Wyoming.
Yes, Brent.